You can't have a teen-focused reality show without some romance, and Total Drama is no exception. In fact, its shipping community was big back in the day, cause there were so many canon couples, but which are healthy and loving, and which are drama-filled and toxic. Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is Total Drama Couples, Healthy to Toxic. Some ground rules before we start. We're only going to be looking at couples that were canon for a minimum of one episode. No fanon pairings, otherwise we'd be here all day. Secondly, we're going to be including couples from the Total Drama spinoff, Redonkulous Race. With those rules out of the way, let's get started with our healthy and fairly drama-free couples. While there may not be very many of them, the ones that are healthy are definitely worth acknowledging. Earning our gold medal of healthiness is the Redonkulous Race goth couple, Crimson and Ennui. Despite their dour and grim exterior, these two have a sweet relationship. Though they aren't lovey-dovey, they still hold hands, and more importantly, they'll support each other. When Ennui's bunny Loki went missing, Crimson put the challenge aside and helped her boyfriend look for his pet, not caring if they lost the race. Crimson was also willing to take the time penalty during the Transylvania challenge by giving Ennui the chance to experience what it was like being in a coffin. How romantic? Additionally, they're the only total drama couple who have never fought on screen, and they were both willing to overlook each other's preppy D-goth appearances in Finland. Honestly, we couldn't think of any other couple who deserved this ranking more. For our silver medal of healthiness, we're going with Sam and Dakota. Certainly the couple nobody expected. Given that Sam was a gamer nerd and Dakota was a wannabe celebrity, they were still sweet together, though awkward at first. They quickly became friends once they realized that they actually had a few things in common. Their relationship quickly blooms, with Dakota trying to help Sam during the mutant fashion challenge. However, their love starts to shine after Dakota's mutation, which Sam finds beautiful instead of horrifying. As such, Dakota uses her mutant form to save Sam after he's buried alive during a challenge. Dakota becomes protective of Sam, and Sam in turn loves Dakota unconditionally. Aww. Getting our bronze medal of healthiness is one of the OG total drama couples, Jeff and Bridget. Yeah, they can be annoying, but you can't deny that they work well as a couple. Although Jeff was awkward in his attempts to woo her, it was still sweet in a way, which Bridget appreciated. Like the best couples, they'll support each other as best as they can. Bridget even got Jeff back to normal after the Aftermath show started going to his head in total drama action. We're putting them below our top two couples due to the few fights and near breakups they've had. Although, apologizing and acknowledging their own mistakes helps with their ranking. Following them, we have Jasmine and Sean. With both characters having an interest in survival, it didn't take them long to bond. Though Sean holds off on pursuing her due to his fear of not being able to kill her if she were ever to become a zombie, it's still clear that he likes her and cares about her. Sean even tries to make it up to Jasmine when he accidentally causes her to lose a challenge. Not because he wants to woo her necessarily, but also because he just wants to make things right. He eventually sacrifices himself to save Jasmine, regaining her trust and leading to them becoming a couple. As such, Jasmine is unable to hurt or sabotage him, even when she has the chance. While we did have to bump this couple down a few notches because Sean's past confessionals where he briefly badmouths Jasmine, the fact that these two are able to work it out keeps them in the healthy tier. Next is Harold and Lashana. If we're being honest, they barely count as a couple. However, there's enough to include them. Although they didn't get off on the right foot, with Harold calling Lashana big and loud, it doesn't take him long to start sending her love letters. While they do kiss, Lashana admits that they move too fast, which is fair, given how out of nowhere this couple was. Despite Harold still being in love with her, they managed to remain good friends throughout the rest of the series. Harold tries to support Lashana, while Lashana defends Harold from Duncan's teasing. She also apologizes for snubbing Harold in favor of the suave Alejandro, and even says that he's better than a typical man in her song Sisters. Though we never see them become official again, the respect they have towards each other is evident, and that's enough for us. Finishing off the healthy pairs, we have Mike and Zoe. Yeah, this is another couple that people have issues with, but we feel there's more good to them than bad. From the very beginning, they had feelings for each other. Things only start to go wrong once Mike's multiple personalities start coming out.
How did you do that?
Well, yes, Mike was being dishonest by telling Zoe about his condition. We can't blame him for trying to hide it. given how mental health conditions are often stigmatized. We can also say that when Mike is in control, he's fully devoted to Zoe and supports her entirely. What brings this couple down is Zoe's side of things. Because she's passive and easily trusting, Zoe often takes Mike's or even Maul's actions on a surface level, never trying to have an in-depth conversation to figure out what's up. However, we do see Zoe hoping to help Mike regain control of himself once she learns the truth about Maul, so we do have to give her credit for that. Despite all their issues, the love between these two does seem genuine, and that in itself is kind of a feat. Alright, moving on to the couples that have some pretty significant issues but don't quite fall into the realm of toxicity. These are the gray couples. First, we have another OG total drama couple, Gwen and Trent. If you watched the first season, we're sure you thought they would be the couple that could make it through anything. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. It started off good, given how supportive Trent was of Gwen. He liked her for who she was, and they had a chill dynamic as they naturally gravitated towards each other. However, it's in total drama action where things start to fall apart. When they're put on separate teams, Trent quickly grows jealous of Duncan, and he even starts throwing challenges. Keep in mind, he does this without even bothering to talk to her about their relationship struggles. In response, Gwen breaks it off with Trent, and due to Justin's blackmail, tells the Killer Grips to vote Trent off behind his back. Thankfully, despite all the turmoil, the two are able to forgive each other and remain decent friends. While they had some communication issues, they're still probably the healthiest of the gray couples. Next is Emma and Noah. While their relationship had its ups and downs, they were made for each other, personality-wise. After falling for Emma early in the race, Noah did his best to win her over, and even saved her during a couple of the challenges. Emma returns the favor during the air guitar challenge, but then breaks his heart once she starts to fear that a relationship could distract her from the race.
I can't be with you.
But, credit to Emma, she does feel guilty about this and soon tells Noah that she does want to date him. It'll just have to wait until after the race. Fair enough. We felt that all the drama and the ups and downs warranted putting them in the gray area, but we'll still admit that this couple's more admirable qualities keeps them in the upper half of the list. Next in the ranking, we have Lindsay and Tyler. This couple earns their spot for one reason. How can you be a healthy couple when one half of the pair is constantly forgetting who the other is? Yeah, for most of their relationship, they were victims of Lindsay's ever-growing dumbness. While the physical attraction was evident, that was all there was. Their interactions consisted of making out. Eventually, Lindsay's able to finally remember who Tyler is without just forgetting about him later, and they're able to continue their relationship once they're both eliminated from Total Drama World Tour. We'll hand it to Tyler for being loyal to Lindsay, never getting too frustrated with her, and ignoring flirting attempts from other characters like Courtney. Still, the relationship between these two often feels more physical than emotional, and realistically, we just can't see them lasting for too much longer. Next is Carrie and Devin. Okay, take the communication issues that Mike and Zoe had and multiply them by 6. Yeah, they are a mess. Though we will hand it to them, their friendship is strong. They support each other as they help each other through their fears and seem to genuinely love being around each other. It's only when romance starts to play a part that things get annoyingly complicated. Both Carrie and Devin struggle with revealing their true feelings and would rather dance around their feelings instead of actually talking them out. Carrie seemed to care more about finally getting her chance with Devin than his distraught at his ex Shelley breaking up with him. As for Devin, once he realized his feelings towards Carrie, it didn't take him long to grow jealous of her friendship with Ryan. We can't say they're the worst couple, as again, their base friendship was incredibly strong. Their communication issues and emotional faults are just too big for us to ignore. Next is a more quirky couple, Owen and Izzy. With both being silly and strange, Owen and Izzy were able to bond quickly during their time on the island. However, even from the start, their relationship could be inconsistent and not very romantic. In a sense, they were more like a shallow but still fun fling, though they still had some issues, like when Owen briefly abandoned Izzy when he thought they were being attacked by a serial killer. Owen tries to push their relationship to the next level during Total Drama action, but by the time the 3rd season rolls around, things fall apart. Izzy caused physical and mental pain with her reckless nature, so Owen starts to have second thoughts about their relationship. However, when a newly intelligent Izzy calls them incompatible and breaks up with him, Owen immediately misses her and wants her back, despite all the problems he had with her. No offense to Owen, but we feel they are probably better off broken up. One other couple we want to give mention to is Anne-Maria and Vito. While yes, Vito is only Mike's alter, he's still treated as another person, and his relationship with Anne-Maria is treated as a genuine threat to Mike and Zoe's relationship. However, unlike those two who like each other for their personality, Anne-Maria and Vito's relationship is strictly built on their physical attraction to each other. Nothing wrong with that, but we do have to acknowledge that because of this lack of emotional connection, it really isn't as healthy as it could potentially be. Finishing off the gray, we have Duncan and Gwen. Any couple that's part of a love triangle is gonna have major issues. For the longest time, they were just friends, even if their respective partners thought otherwise. Sparks quickly began to fly in the third season, once Gwen began acknowledging her feelings and Duncan began to get tired of Courtney trying to control him. The two share a kiss before Duncan officially breaks up with Courtney, which isn't cool. Unfortunately, even after they get together, things aren't exactly sunshine and rainbows, as Duncan is still attracted to Courtney, despite all their issues. Basically, all the good qualities they had as friends goes out the window due to Duncan being wishy-washy and Gwen's occasional jealousy and annoyance towards Duncan's lingering feelings regarding Courtney. Speaking of Gwen, once she decides that she cares more about fixing her friendship with Courtney, she ignores all of Duncan's attempts to be affectionate. It's no wonder his attention started drifting back to his ex. Ultimately, this couple is one of the few in the Total Drama franchise that not only break up, but end their relationship on bad terms. Given how good they were as friends, it's a shame to see. On to the couples with some drama. These are the toxic couples. Just outside of our bottom three, we have the briefly in love, Scott and Courtney. So, what was the point of them getting together? Courtney only started developing feelings for Scott once they were put on the same team in All-Stars, even worrying about him when he's sent to Boney Island. Courtney was enamored by Scott's simple yet charming nature, while Scott states that he finds bossiness attractive. However, it's soon revealed by Maul that Courtney not only looks down on Scott, but planned on using him to win, being confident that if they were to be in the final two, Scott would throw the challenge for her. This breaks them up for good, and given the lack of mutual respect, mostly on Courtney's side, we would hope that they stay broken up.
This is just I can't believe.
Earning the bronze medal of toxicity, we have Alejandro and Heather. Being two of the strongest players in the game, they quickly develop not only a rivalry, but also a love-hate relationship. Though they respect each other's strengths in the game, they aren't afraid to manipulate or betray each other if it means getting the million. Though their love seems genuine, it's not nearly enough to overshadow their greed, at least not permanently. However, as much as they may deny their feelings when it comes to winning the game, their mutual respect and even occasional affection for each other keeps them from going any lower. For our silver medal, we're giving it to the daters, haters, Ryan and Stephanie. Much like our previous pair, they're a couple that can't seem to handle the pressure of the competition. Although they start off loving towards each other, things get real malicious real fast. While Stephanie may have caused the breakup, Ryan certainly has his own moments of being callous or cruel as a means of petty revenge. They fight and scream at each other throughout most of the season, often berating each other and showing a huge lack of support. That is, until Darjeeling, where Ryan helps Stephanie through the leaf picking challenge and the two fall back in love. While it may seem sweet on the surface, it feels more like a break from the fighting than these two actually managing to come back together. The key to any healthy couple is the ability to work as a team and take on any type of pressure together. And we feel that any bit of adversity or conflict would be enough to break them up for good. Finally, our gold medal of toxicity goes to Duncan and Courtney. Arguably the ship that started it all. It was a close call with the daters haters, but ultimately, Duncan and Courtney just had more examples of toxicity. They started off having a love-hate relationship, with Duncan trying to get Courtney to loosen up. With Duncan being a rebel and Courtney being a perfectionist princess, it was a tale as old as time. Unfortunately, the couple's best and most affectionate moments are in the first season, and it's all downhill from there. In season 2, Courtney is often accusing Duncan of cheating on her with Gwen, and they become rivals once they're put on different teams. Although it looks like they're about to get back together, Courtney ruins it by showing her controlling side and giving Duncan a list of rules that he must follow. From there, they're very on and off, breaking up and coming back together several times. This culminates in Duncan actually cheating on her with Gwen in World Tour. Although Duncan cares about Courtney and is still attracted to her, he's more likely to find ways to avoid their problems instead of actually talking them out. As for Courtney, she's a my way or the highway type of partner, being incredibly controlling and selfish, even if she does still care about him to a point. Mix all those traits together and add in the fact that they've both chosen the prize money over each other, and you have what is easily the most toxic total drama couple. Alright guys, that's the list. Let us know in the comment section if you agree with our ranking, and let us know what we should cover next. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge more of our videos. But most importantly, stay wicked.